Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Game Junk Podcast, episode 238, recording on Monday, June 23rd, 2025. My name is Frank.
My name is Sean.
And my name's Andrew.
And on this week's show, we will be talking about the Nintendo Direct that featured 18 minutes of information on Donkey Kong Bananza. Is this the game of the year? That will be the question that's answered today. Without having played
now.
Death Stranding 2 on the beach and some other games, we will make a decision, an early preliminary decision on game of the year. So be ready.
Okay.
Huck, you're back. How you doing, buddy?
I'm back. Good. Why did I miss last week? Was I hungover again? I can't remember.
No, it was mostly that we were just talking about Switch 2.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. And I had, I don't know, probably baseball or something. I can't remember.
And you have not bought a Switch 2.
Nope. It's true. I have not.
Incomprehensible.
I am curious to hear if he's getting closer after watching the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct.
Spoiler alert, I am becoming more and more interested in the game, or in the Switch 2 because of the game, but I'm not there yet. I mean, after your guys' not so glowing review of Mario Kart World, I was, my hype level went down, to be honest. So I must say,
but shouldn't have that been counterbalanced by the amazing and affordable Nintendo Switch 2 welcome tour?
Oh yeah,
especially from a game developer learning about the intricacies of design and hardware. I mean,
you know what that sounds to me? That sounds like a YouTube video watch. Oh, I'm good with that.
Good luck feeling the vibrations of the HD Rumble and the mouse controls via YouTube. Not gonna happen.
It's true. That is a shame, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be enticed to get it once I finally get a Switch 2, but right now, not there.
Okay.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, let's stop messing around. Let's talk about Donkey Kong Bananza. This was a 17-minute and 42-second direct that aired on Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, and went into, I thought, pretty extreme detail with some of the systems and things that are in this game, which launches on July 17th. Huck, you've been away for a while. Why don't you give us your thoughts on the Donkey Kong Bananza Direct 6/18/2025?
Well, I thought it looked quite good, actually, and I thought this was overall a great way to present a game to gamers. They talked about the mechanics. They showed a little bit about, a bunch of the mechanics they talked about. They showed some story, I guess, kind of stuff at the beginning. They talked about, they kind of just showed you what the game is going to be about, different areas. They talked about what they show, 4 or 5 different environments. They talked about how you have to kind of go down into the middle of the earth or whatever they're talking about doing. So I thought they covered quite a lot of the bases about the game, and I wouldn't say I had any questions going in about this game, but it definitely reinforced the fact that this looks like it's going to be a pretty solid title for me. So overall, pretty impressed. I thought the mechanics looked fun. I thought the destruction looked impressive. I mean, lots of games are doing destruction now, but to see it on a Switch was kind of fun. And with Donkey Kong, I think it's a perfect character to sort of apply this sort of gameplay to. And I'd say that's my first kind of initial thoughts.
All right, Sean, how about you?
Yeah, I was very impressed. I mean, I was already kind of excited for this game after, I don't know that the initial trailer, whenever it was, revealed, sold me, but there was some gameplay from like the Treehouse after one of the Switch 2 directs or whatever. That was where I was like, oh, this looks a lot more interesting than I thought it did. And this just kind of, delved more into that. I was surprised at how many different systems there are. It's like we already knew about sort of being able to dig down to different levels and like kind of destroy the environment and kind of build things as well. But this was, you've got like a whole upgrade system, like different abilities. Like I was shocked at how much stuff seems to be in this game. And it actually, the thing it reminded me the most of, like it felt like Super Mario Odyssey mixed with like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. It feels like that's still kind of where Nintendo is at right now. This idea of like, we'll give you a checklist of some fun stuff to do, but then you can also go and make your own fun. I'm curious how Frank feels about this element, but that does seem to be, one of the pillars, I would say, of what Nintendo is doing right now.
Yeah, I'd say out of anything I saw in this direct, the part that looked the least fun to me was the making stuff out of clay, like throwing it and sticking it, which just seeing how long there's a part where DK can pick up clay and then throw it and it sticks to other clay. And they use that to build like a bridge across to something. And I'm like, well, that would take about a minute to do that. And I don't know if that sounds like all that much fun to me. You see the last thing getting attached, but you don't see everything leading up to it. And all of my skepticism about this game going into this direct was related to, I can't think of a game that made picking things up fun. Can you think of a game where it's like you're picking things up and doing things with them?
There was like the early, I don't know if it was probably Xbox generation, not 360, but like that era where there was a lot of games that were doing like the, was it PsyOps or, they were doing the physics, pick stuff up, move it around, throw stuff. I guess Half-Life 2 was kind of in that era too.
I think that's a nice pull there at the end, that the gravity gun, that's what it's called, right? And
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Again, that's, if I'm going to split hairs, more of a shooting mechanic. It's an aiming and pulling something in and then firing it again mechanic. And I would say the gravity gun makes that process like very fluid. It's like in and out, boom, pulling of a trigger. But I think, after seeing this direct, the speed at which something goes from being on the ground to in your hands and is released, and you see the consequences of that, I am fully on board with this game. And even more so, I mean, I'll say it right now, it's game of the year. I don't have to play it. I don't need to play anything else.
Perfect.
I can tell you the moment I knew it was game of the year, when it's something we had seen already, which is the hand slap. DK has a hand slap that will collect anything in its vicinity. So you don't have to pick things up individually or go close to them. Something that the first game I remember doing this very well was Forspoken, where you get a power that it like casts a wave and then picks up everything for you. So you don't have to pick up everything. I'm like, why doesn't every game do this? It's so much more fun. And I'll give a little bit of credit to Ghost of Tsushima, which made like picking things up on horseback and very fluid and fun and easy. But that wasn't the moment. I already knew about the hand slap. And obviously the hand slap also works as sonar, which I was always, how am I going to know where things are if it's all buried under rock and other things? And any of that user experience of knowing where things are and where you are relative to the camera in terms of depth and other ideas, all of those concerns were alleviated for me watching this. But the moment I knew it was game of the year was there's a portion where DK is hanging underneath some type of building or structure. And it says he can even hand clap when his arms are like, I can't remember the exact wording, but can't be used. And he does a foot clap with his feet, like the monkey foot clap. And I'm like, you just got game of the year. Congratulations. That's the type of touch and idea that only emanates from a game of the year. And I was fully convinced at that point. And then everything else just reaffirmed. In particular, in terms of playability, the map, the 3D map. We've seen good 3D maps in Metroid Prime, was like the pioneer of a great 3D map. And then recently stuff like Fallen Order, Survivor, I think has kind of taken to the next level. This is an even better because it has the color palette of the level. It's fully rotatable, how it indicates where things are in the 3D space. Very understandable and accessible. And again, how are you going to find things in this destructive world? Made sense to me just by looking at those things. So I was fully sold. Aside from what I would say is the most inspiring character art direction I can think of in recent memory, the emotive expressions and cartoon nature of Donkey Kong and all other characters, I think is absolutely mind-blowing and the best I've ever seen. And lastly, I'll say the characters that I didn't know about are amazing designs. All of the enemy Kongs were like Void. Well, Void Kong is one of them. I was like, Void Kong looks amazing. There was like a group of 4, and every one of them I thought was unique. And
the Void Company, I think they're
Void Company, okay, led by Void Kong. And I would add just the thing that my other biggest takeaway from the direct was the scale of this game. Like, I didn't know if it was a big game, a small game. You know, is it the size of Mario Odyssey? Is it just kind of a lower size 3D platformer? It feels enormous in terms of not just the size of the world, but showcasing all these different systems with, as Sean kind of alluded to, there's like this one where you like sculpt and paint things out of rock. And I'm like,
DK artist mode.
Why does this even need to be in here? I'm never going to play it, but it just is an indicator of the time and attention that went into it. And also the different transformative animals, like the zebra, ostrich, rhinoceros. And from what I could tell, you can transform into them when you want. It's about saving up an economy and unleashing it when you want it to happen. Everything. Oh, and lastly, after playing Blade Chimera, which I'll talk about, the 3D map, fast travel seemed so easy. Like, go wherever you want. Like, really tons of spots to fast travel to, which is a huge plus in my book. I'll just say it. Blade Chimera, Metroid-like, lets you go to any 95% of the rooms on the map at any time, whenever you want. Go to the map, highlight it, teleport there. This is what we all need. Like, this is every Metroid-like should have a system like that. And I was so impressed by that game. Just make your game fun. We all know we can go 20 rooms across and shoot at a couple enemies to get to where we want to go. I want to explore. I want to get the new thing. So thank you, Blade Chimera. But DK Bananza, Game of the Year. Hey, I don't pre-order amiibos every day, but I pre-ordered DK and Pauline after watching the direct, and
that's
I'm
Game
fully
of the Year
in.
right there.
I am fully committed.
Yeah,
to DK Bananza.
I'd say so. When you were talking about the map, when they were talking about how the collectibles will be visible on the map, that's the thing I was most worried about, because in these sort of games where you can like dig, not everywhere, but dig in a bunch of spots, find that kind of stuff would be so annoying if they don't have a good way to narrow down where you have to search. So when I saw it on the map and when I saw the sonar thing, I was like, okay, this game's got a lot of potential. And everything else you mentioned also really, really impressive. The different like modes of transportation they do. Looks like they were playing a little bit with like 2D versus 3D, kind of like throwbacks to
the
older
2D
games.
levels looked awesome.
Yeah,
and the integration or tie-in to Donkey Kong Country was like way more prevalent than I thought it was initially. Like, it's got remix tracks, it's using all the themes and music from the game, characters from the game. So I was that was just comforting, I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, so you were talking about the sonar thing. Now, was that from slapping the ground, or didn't they show off something that Pauline could do that like helped you locate stuff?
That's on an easy mode, I think, or maybe it's related to the easy guided mode. She can sing or make music that leads a trail of notes to where you should be going next, I believe.
Right.
And that, like, the weirdest thing to me is how the big reveal was in the last glimpse we saw this game. It was this rock creature, Odd Rock, I think. I can't believe I pulled that one out of my ass. Odd Rock. And we're like, who's Odd Rock? What's this character? Like, anyone gives a fuck. It's a rock. Who gives a shit? And then this is like, the Odd Rock is actually Pauline. And she's going to help you on your journey, or you're going to help each other to some degree. And like, I look at the comments on this direct, and it's looks like this game is canonically a prequel, seeing as Pauline is still a child. Who the fuck cares about this? Like, there's a whole article on IGN. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? It's a Donkey Kong game.
I was going to bring that up because, I mean, like, so Pauline was in Mario Odyssey as the mayor of New Donk City or whatever, and so now this is a younger Pauline, but like, it's so weird that people went to like, where does it fit in the Mario timeline? I'm like, wait, there's a Mario timeline? Like,
yeah, every Mario game just reinvents some bullshit Mushroom Kingdom catastrophe that like dictates the powers and hooks of the game. Like, that's where Donkey Kong emanates from, and I cannot believe the obsession over the story of this game. I could not care less. That's why I like these games. They're not focused on story and dialogue and cinematics that are average and annoying and time consuming. It's about fun, gameplay, exploration, and just beaming, exuding creativity out of every pore of the game. And I literally am so excited to play this game. It's incredible looking.
Might be a system seller. Might be.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, my conspiracy theory seems to be right that they knew Mario Kart World, if they released them both at the same time, probably wouldn't sell as well by comparison. And it's like, well, let's kind of limit the window and force people into buying Mario Kart World before they get DK.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you were talking about Mario Kart World, Frank, you were talking about like, where's the Mario Odyssey influence? And clearly it's in this game, but it's not really in Mario Kart World. But
while you're on that though, with Mario Kart World, I can't believe I didn't bring this up, but that was for the free roam mode, right? But I had similar complaints about standards for the online modes. And I was like, I know Nintendo's done better than this for like matchmaking and leveling up and progression systems for online. And I haven't played Splatoon much, but I'm sure it's there. But even F-Zero 99, a free game, is like, you level up, you get tickets, you can do all this stuff and improve your rank. I mean, the fact that there's not a version of that in this game is in Mario Kart World is insane to me. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, you were talking about like you don't play these games for story or cinematics. And that was actually the one thing I was surprised about. Like, maybe it is because people love Pauline for some reason from Super Mario Odyssey, but there was a lot of focus on her to the point where you're getting like in this direct like cinematics about like her wanting to be a singer and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, like, I hope that's not a lot of this game, because I was not very interested in it, but could just be the intro video. Who knows? Like,
yeah, the 2D levels look amazing. And we'd seen this before as well, but anytime you insert yourself through the world and the tech for that camera that knows like how to, like, it kind of intersects the world almost like an ant farm and shows where you are. Like, now everything in the videos makes it seem perfect, right? Like, that's a potential point of failure. You know, they're showing the best case scenarios for that system. Now, if it works to that level, then I think it'll be amazing. But that seems like it would be a very difficult thing to do across any spot in the world.
After the game chat debacle, Nintendo is very honest with what they show in their trailers. So,
well, I mean, it was honest. The question is, will the camera perspective be as effective and perfectly placed in every spot in the world.
Probably edge cases for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if I'll just playing devil's advocate as to why this might not be game of the year, possibly game of the decade, century. I don't know. Going beyond the foot clap, obviously I talked about the construction element that I'm not completely sold on, and I hope it's not a huge part of the game. I hope it's like for those that want to do fun stuff or turn this game into Minecraft a bit, it's like an optional component of the game.
Well, it also looks like it's part of exploration too, potentially, but
yeah, I'm hoping not too much. That would be a reason for me to not be as impressed with the game. And there's one other thing that I'm not 100% sold on. It'll come back to me. I lost it. Any
did you mention you talked about the zebras and the ostrich and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely. Looked incredible.
Co-op. There's co-op with Pauline. It seems like Odyssey basically controlling Cappy. Not the best, but
or even like Mario Galaxy with the shooting the stars. Instead of shooting the stars, you're shooting like words. Like it was like go, that was kind of neat looking, and whatever else they said, which was kind of interesting because it was like, you know, the words looked pretty impressive. It's pretty and it was like a rock font, I guess you would call it. That was like going out. So I mean, still on theme, still on brand, which was pretty fun.
Shout out to the pioneer of interactive text in video games, X-Men Destiny combat text system.
Huge.
Not the most incredible version of it, but you have to start somewhere.
That's right. Cutting edge.
As inspired from the Scott Pilgrim trailer.
I would say it's like, what, 15, 20 years ahead of its time.
Yeah. I mean, another game did it very similarly the same year, I think, and probably better. Definitely better, but I think it was the same year. Sunset Overdrive. But yeah, I love Sunset Overdrive. I'd like to see a remastered version of that game. And I don't know if I have anything else to say about DK other than characters. I remember my other Devil's Advocate approach. The thing that kind of casually got tossed aside in the direct, and it's like talked about as a feature, but they clearly don't want to linger on it too much, is the idea that you're in the game going closer to the center of the world, the core, and there's nothing about these levels that makes you feel like you're getting deeper at all. It's like a completely arbitrary thing of a number of how deep you are in a level. And it doesn't really seem to be affecting gameplay at all. But in the direct, they say something like, oh, as you go deeper and deeper, they basically, the levels change. As another way of saying, levels look different or have different art styles. Yeah, we know every game in history has that.
Yeah. It's like Journey to the Center of the Earth, pretending like you're actually going to that. There's like all this like hidden like sky worlds that you can't see and stuff. Like it's kind of bizarre. It's definitely no like
you never
ceilings.
get the sense looking like, but it's the idea there is everything's capped off. It's not like you are at a level and look up and say, wow, I'm so deep down now. It's like everything's a one-off system. So I don't think that's a big deal by any means, but they kind of, I don't know, danced a bit around that idea in the direct. And it doesn't feel like you're going deeper, I would say.
Yeah, it was a weird point because you could have done all the same levels and not mentioned anything about that. And probably no one would have cared. Would have been like, okay, I'm just digging down. Okay, big deal. There's these worlds under here. Like, I don't have to be going to the center of anything. I'm just digging down. Who cares?
I definitely thought of how I talked about this in Brothership, how it was Connectar, and how they localize these games. And there was tons of examples of that in this direct of like what's the mineral called? Bananza. Oh, damn it. It's like
Banandium?
Unobtainium and Banandium. And
there's also the turf surf. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, there was something else early on. I'm like, oh, that's a good name. That is really good. So not surprised by any of these nice little touches from Nintendo. And I'll shout out to Corey, who had messaged me, and see what you guys think about this. Skill trees in a Nintendo game, divisive issue. He was not impressed.
I mean, I like it. I was shocked that it was there, but I like it. It just means you're going to get more cool new abilities as you go through the game, as opposed to getting them all at once. So
yeah, I mean, the ones they showed were like basically improving upon abilities, which to me makes perfect sense in terms of just expanding the speed at which you explore as you get more adept with the game mechanics, and things that felt fresh to start with start to feel slow or not as much fun. So it definitely, I'm in favor of it in a big way, and it further cemented Game of the Year.
As long as you're not crafting weapons, I'm on board.
Yeah.
So Frank, you mentioned that you had like this theory that you thought maybe this was supposed to be a launch title, but they pushed it back a bit to give Mario Kart some space. I don't know did you guys see the story about the Metroid Prime 4 release date? Like, I guess there was some advertisement across subways in the UK or something where it said out now, Mario Kart or Metroid Prime 4 Beyond out now. And people were like, what's up with that? And so there's a theory that also was supposed to be a launch title, but got pushed back for whatever reason. I don't know if that's true. It's possible that it was like, apparently it's a series of ads that shows a bunch of games. So maybe it was meant to be Switch 2 is out now, but it's right on the Metroid Prime one.
I did not hear about this story. It makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it's kind of the catch-22 with Nintendo, where, you know, these other games, and especially in the past, there were so many similar games that we got to rush out and be the first, or they're competing third-person action games, or ideas like we have to, you know, when do we release? August, September, October. And Nintendo has, as we've spoken about before, taken a different approach with art design, where it's obviously they're not as focused on tech and graphics and being the first or best looking game out there at any given point in time. These games are designed to hold up for decades, I would say, in the same way Wind Waker, which was initially criticized for its art style, it's stood the test of time because of that choice. And I think because of that, they could sit on a game for a year and it wouldn't make a difference, where other game companies can't do that. If you think of just the Fantasy Japan third action games that are out there, like, it's very important when you release relative to other ones. Look at Rise of the Ronin, and to a lesser degree, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It doesn't matter. They could bank this game for 2 more years and it would still probably sell just as well. And that's kind of frustrating as a consumer as well, that they're like, well, we'll just release it when we want it. But I wouldn't be surprised if all 3 of these were initially slated to be launch, and someone's like, yeah, we can make a lot more money if we just kind of space these things out, or make people buy a pack in with Mario Kart World before we get to these other things. Or even more so, I didn't even think about this with Metroid Prime 4. Make sure that people have already bought a Switch 2 so that they don't just play it on Switch and don't even feel the need to buy the new system.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, there's also just the third party software stuff, which is, there's a lot of news reports this week that third party games are not selling very well on the Switch 2.
Yeah, because they suck.
But I mean, yeah, they're all just ports of games that have been out for years. So I'm not that surprised. But
yeah, I was just going to.
If Silk Song or Hades 2 was on the Switch 2 store right now, it would be the number 1 or 2 selling game. If it depends if they do units or cost, money made.
So yeah. I was just thinking, like, as you guys were talking about this, like, is this the most, or I guess the least amount of exclusive games ever to be on a launch day? Like, you're looking at there's Mario Kart World Tour, Survival Kids, from what I can tell, it's the only other exclusive, and then the like GameCube pack-in.
And Welcome Tour. Don't you forget Welcome Tour.
And Welcome Tour, of course. That I forgot about that gem. But
there
is
has
that
been-
it? Those 4 games and only like 2? I mean, I wouldn't even count the GameCube one as a thing that you should be worried about. So you're now talking about 3 games exclusive, or not, I guess exclusive, yeah. Launch titles, new releases, exclusive to this platform. And 2 of them are Nintendo, and only one, like, you could only find one company with one game that would want to release on the Switch. Like, I don't know, something's up here. Like, people would want to release on this console, I would think.
I mean, yeah, there might be something there in terms of when they let people have their dev, like
I would say
and
they
dev
held
kits
something
and
back.
stuff like that. Yeah, that's 100% possible. I wouldn't be surprised, especially it was very hard to release on the Switch when it first came out, and they finally become the indies and bullshit like that. But that was a made up thing. Nintendo was brutal when it came to that stuff, and Sony kind of dropped the ball. And somewhere along the line, now Xbox holds that ball. There must not be a lot of money in indies if everyone's willing to pass this ball so quickly. But I got to push back a bit that going Nintendo 64, I might be a little wrong with some of these, but I think there was only 2 Nintendo games at launch, Mario 64 and Pilot Wings.
Yeah. I'm not saying first party. I'm not saying just first party games. I'm saying all the other games too.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the launch titles.
There's been a lot of discussion about all the different Nintendo launch lineups, and the 64 seemed to be the one that came up as maybe the weakest. But the thing is, you got Mario 64,
Mario
which
64
is an amazing game.
Still stands up to this day. Like, it was revolutionary. 3D camera.
Looking at the GameCube, that was the first console I ever bought in the history of buying consoles.
Sorry.
No.
Ouch.
No, I didn't finish the sentence. This is the first console I ever bought that I did not buy a game when it came out. I just bought the console. And really? Like I rented Luigi's Mansion and Wave Race, and they both kind of sucked. And I'm like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have bought this. I think I drove to Guelph from Waterloo a couple months later to buy Extreme G3 for $30.
There you go.
But I don't know. This doesn't seem that out of character for Nintendo for me.
I think what part of it, though, is that there's just so many multi-platform games, and nobody wants to come out, and there's not a lot of third-party companies that are going to come along and say, okay, we're going to launch just on the Switch with this game. It's, something like Deltarune was kind of a launch title, but it's out on multiple platforms. So it's like, there's just nothing like that now. Everybody wants to be on every platform if they can.
Yeah, and every GameCube there was only 2 exclusive third-party launch games for GameCube. One was Super Monkey Ball, which I think kind of became synonymous and was really good, and Extreme G3, which is kind of comparable to that. What's the Wipeout type game on the store?
Fast Fusion,
which is an exclusive. And so it doesn't feel that the thing that feels out of character is not to have like an absolutely killer launch title. And maybe whether Mario Kart World is a bit debatable depending on who you talk to, but there's nothing about that game that, you haven't seen before, or, just is something like, I just got to keep playing Mario Kart World. It's just not there.
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize that. I'm looking at like the Nintendo 64 release dates. I didn't realize it was so staggered.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I thought it launched with Wave Race. I thought it launched with Shadows of the Empire. And apparently I was way off on all that.
I think the Nintendo, if I remember the 64 release date was like August, possibly August.
I've seen 26th, September 29th.
Really?
For North America.
Okay. I thought that's when Shadows of the Empire came out, because I remember walking to Walmart.
December 3rd for Shadows in this Wikipedia article I'm looking at.
Man, we need a remastered version of Shadows of the Empire. Let's capture that absolutely mid gameplay with the best graphics possible. And I did find the word,
every other Star Wars game,
the creative word from the direct. In order to transform into animals, you collect Bananergy.
Oh, beautiful.
pretty good.
Love it. Love it. All right. I think that I've said everything I need to say about the game of the year without having played it.
That was like 3 times. That discussion was 3 times as long as the direct.
Yeah, I mean, it comes out next month. There's not a ton of other games around it that I can think of. So I mean, it's got a really good spot for people to play it and pay attention to it. So,
Are you will you be taking time off work, Sean, to give a little time to this thing?
perhaps I hadn't really considered it, but maybe.
All right, maybe we can do a little game chat, explore the world together, share our screens.
Oh yeah.
Could be absolutely wonderful. Okay, anything else Nintendo Switch 2 related that we can talk about? I'll mention one thing. Splatoon Raiders got announced as like an exclusive add-on for Switch 2. And
Right.
I watched that kind of preview. And initially, when I heard about it, my mind went immediately to this is going to be Helldivers with Splatoon, which I thought would be incredible. I was so excited. And in watching the trailer a bit, it seems like it's more like a survival game with Splatoon characters. Not a lot to go on. No one actually knows what it is yet, but if I could get a new Helldivers with Splatoon and Nintendo's creative flourishes, man, my scarlet fever is kicking in, man. It's out of control. Nintendo, just give me achievements. I'll swear I'll only be with you for the rest of my life if you give me achievements on old Nintendo games. I won't play anything else. Blue Haze be damned. I'll be done forever.
I don't believe
That's all I want.
Don't believe it.
I just want to go back and play Ocarina of Time and do everything and get credit for it. All right. Let's get into what we played then. Huck, you've been away for a while. Unless there's a new game we need to talk about first. Is there a major release?
Well, Rematch, I guess.
Did you play Rematch, Huck?
No, I did not. No.
All right, go ahead. You go first.
Okay. So first thing I played, I think you guys have both played this. I played Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. Got it out of the old library for the kids. We all played it together through. So the kids have no idea what Power Rangers are, but they love.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they love the beat 'em up games. So they love the Ninja Turtle games. Didn't play Streets of Rage with them, but love the Ninja Turtle games. So we played through the whole thing, and they loved it. They were like, "Let's go back and do it again, and try to power up all the guys and all the Power Rangers and I thought it was pretty good fun. Now it's very short. It's only like 2 hours long or something like that, maybe 3. But it was.
We were probably halfway through the game then when we played.
Yeah,
we
had to redo a few parts.
I played on easy, so that could have been a helping hand. But there's only like 5 stages of varying lengths. So. But I liked how I thought it was pretty well done. They kind of split up with, your traditional, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side-scrolling beat-em-up game, Streets of Rage style, with then they do almost like, the SNES graphics flip, going first person, like combat almost like they did almost like how would you describe like a shooter
like the mode 7? It's mode 7 and it's like throwing things like Ninja Turtles throwing things at the screen.
Yeah.
Now we made it to the goal. I believe it's Goldar.
Okay. Yep.
Like the boss fight. That's where we stopped. How far do you think we were at that point?
You're maybe a quarter of the way through.
Okay.
That's like the first boss. That's like the stage 1 boss, I think.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that took us a while. We sucked.
okay, all right.
We
Yeah,
were playing on normal though. Come on, man.
yes, sorry. Whew, yeah. But yeah, it was fun. Local co-op. You can upgrade your rangers. There's like 3 stats: attack, defense, and speed. My older boy was surprisingly good. He like got the most XP by a lot. Like he maxed out his character like 2, 3 levels before I did. I was like, what the hell is this guy doing? I think he was stealing all the money. I think that's what he was doing. But yeah, I like they had like sort of on rail shooter sections, and then they had sort of like almost like first person fighting mechanics where the like Goldar would have been one of them, where you have to kind of try to get close to them and then punch them, but at the same time they're kind of attacking you with projectiles, or they're trying to hit you with like a punch kind of thing, and you have to dodge like left or right. And then there was a couple like on rails sections, I think, where it's like 2D kind of side scrolling stuff. It's kind of weird. You're like you're on like a roller coaster and you're like trying to shoot the bad guys that come. There's also like motorcycle. You're on like a motorcycle. So like all the tech is kind of the same, but they just put a little different facade over top of it. But it switched it up enough where it was still enjoyable. The kids got a kick out of doing like little different tweaks, like on the motorcycles, you can go up ramps and jump. And then in the other ones, there's other little tweaks to the mechanic. There's like on the roller coaster, you have to like shoot things that have balloons or something like that. I don't know. It's like very, very basic, but for like a fun game with kids, I thought it was great. Definitely wished it was a little longer. Even the kids were kind of like, that's it. We kind of did 2 play sessions, and that was it. So could have been a little longer, but I don't know. These kind of games, I feel like, 3-4 hours, kind of the sweet spot for this kind of game. I don't think they really need to be like a 10-hour experience. I mean, you're kind of doing the same thing over and over again. So this one maybe a little on the short side, but still pretty close to that sweet spot overall. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is you guys have tons of games coming out to play over the next year.
I know, endless supply of these games. I know.
All right, Sean, you want to talk Rematch a bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I really did not play very much. I did the tutorial and played one match on one online 3-on-3 match, which somebody quit halfway through. So,
well, let's say Rematch is a soccer game developed by Slow Clap, who developed Sifu. And I mean, my thought when playing it, and maybe the reason I like it so much, is I have a feeling this team felt the same way about Rocket League that I did, where I really like this game, but I wish I was just playing soccer. Like, I don't like the randomness of not being able to control. Like, it's kind of like you're at the mercy of the physics of the game. But then that contradicts itself to me with when people are really good, their skill level is so high that they can control the rockets, and like they're so much better than everyone else that kind of like creates this lack of parity in skill level, aside from ranked modes, I guess. I just played Rocket League saying, I just wish this was soccer and then no cars. And that's what this game is. It's like Rocket League, but actual soccer, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and 5-on-5. And it's fucking amazing. I'm surprised the reviews are not that great for it. I'm looking at Steam, and the biggest complaint I see is my number one complaint, which is people don't pass. Like, it's
I've heard that.
And I assume
welcome
most
to
of
online
is
sports games.
stupid fucking kids who think they're heroes that play these games and have no idea what they're doing. And hopefully, that works itself out, or I can just find people to play with and destroy people online. But anyway, Sean, talk about the game a bit more and what you thought of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was curious, and it kind of reminded me of like, and I'm sure we've talked about this, like, sports games from like the NES, SNES era. It wasn't all about the licensed, player likenesses. It was kind of what creative spin can you put on it. And so this, I mean, it's just like you said, it's Rocket League, but soccer. It's almost like third person shooter soccer in a way, because you have such precise aim that, unlike almost any other soccer game I can think of. And I don't know if FIFA maybe has a mode like this, I'm not sure, but like the fact that you are one player and that's who you control for the whole game, you're not switching between other members of your team. That's interesting as well. Now, the one thing that maybe I could see being a bit divisive as well is somebody's got to be the goalkeeper. And I think it kind of rotates that. When I first started playing, I was the goalkeeper right away. And you feel a bit of pressure because it's like, it's not quite like Rocket League where it's just, everybody's just a player. Like, you specifically are assigned the role of goalkeeper, and that feels like, oh, I better not let anything in or else I'm letting the team down,
It can adjust based on where you are in the field. So if you're goalie and you leave the goaltending box, you're not goalie anymore. You become sweeper, and then you just become another player depending on where you are on the field. So
can you play without a goalkeeper then, or does somebody
people do?
always?
And it drives me absolutely crazy. But that is a strategy for like, if you're down a goal, which like happens in real soccer too. But it, like, people right now, we'll see if this improves over time, because you start each match by kicking back to the goalie. And 30% of the matches I play now, that person just tries to go the whole field by themselves and you want to strangle them. And everyone just says, good job with the feedback. Great. Like, just sarcastically peppering these people with comments. And of course, they probably like that. That's probably why they're doing it. So I just need to get a solid crew for Rematch, because I think the core mechanics and passing and level of skill required is almost perfect, and like the polish level I think is great. The sprint mechanic, and there's like a little boost at the end, and the idea of recharging speed is so similar to others, like to real life sports, as to when you rest and try to regain some stamina. Felt like the same decision making process you would make in real life. Like, I don't have a chance on this play, I better try to, conserve some energy. I just thought the kind of like in the way NHL 09 really bridged the gap between how you think and play hockey into a video game. I thought this game really brought that sensibility from real life soccer to video game soccer, even if it's a more arcadey version of it. And I just thought it was a lot of fun. I was like, this could be okay when I first saw it. They have a definite knack for polish, and I think the graphical style is quite good, but I was super impressed by it.
Yeah, controls are very tight. It's like, I think it's easier to pick up and play than Rocket League, as you're saying, but I think it has the same, like, if you get really good, you could really refine your skills. So yeah, I think the only thing that's a pain is that it's like, I wish it was a game that some friends come over, you could just sit down and play it. But because it's, you're controlling this one character, I don't even think there is any local co-op available. It's all online.
I highly doubt it. I don't know for sure, but I would say, like, I loved NHL 3-on-3 modes in those games as well. And this felt like the closest thing to that I've played in a long time, only I would say better. And other than that, I'd say it's my favorite arcade sports game since iDarb. iDarb is the last thing I remember. I just wanted to keep playing it, and it was super fun. And I bought it. I tried it on Game Pass. My Game Pass expires tomorrow, so I bought it on PlayStation and just been having a hoot.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really good. It kind of got me back into sports games. They've been so repetitive and monotonous for the last decade with very little innovation or new ideas that this finally felt like a fresh sports game. And it would currently be in my my top 5 for game of the year.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I love it. We'll see how it holds up. We'll see what the tail is like in community, but I'm hoping people give this game a chance because it's really good. We did not try FBC Firebreak,
No.
the new Remedy multiplayer game, which we will try to do.
Yeah, definitely want to give it a try at least.
Okay. Huck, how about you?
I played a bit of Crypt Custodian, which Frank, you had mentioned you played and beat, probably platinumed
In a day, like in 24 hours. I
Oh, really?
loved that. Oh, I loved that game.
So I thought I was just kind of going through. I was just kind of looking through a walkthrough, and I thought I was further along than I think I was, but maybe like a fifth of the way through the game or something like that. But I thought it was pretty good so far. I felt like I was further. I thought I had seen a lot of their sort of like platforming. I liked the upgrades they had. I liked the mechanic of collecting junk or trash or scrap or whatever they call it, like around the world, and you can kind of break piles of garbage and break jars and stuff on top of the enemies to gain the currency, and then you use that to buy upgrades and what, not weapons, but some other thing, kind of like stat boosts, I guess. And then they have other kind of like hidden semi-hidden puzzles, let's say, that allow you to increase your health. And I think they increased something else, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I played it like a few weeks ago. But I thought it was really well done. I thought the controls felt really good, really smooth. The jumping was good. You know, double jumping, not double jumping, like jump and dash felt good. The enemies I thought were interesting. The attacks were telegraphed really well. They have like a very simple but intuitive like visual language of attacks are red. Essentially, they telegraph like a red attack, and then even if it's like a sweeping attack, they do a good telegraph to show you where that's coming from, so you can react even if you've never seen that enemy before. So I was really impressed with a lot of stuff about this game. I just haven't had time to go back and play some more, but I was liking it. I was liking it a lot. So not too much more to add, but
all of the Kyle Thompson games. I haven't played Sheepo, which I still want to play, but Islets and Crypt Custodian, so playable, so much fun. Maybe not the most innovative games, but I really don't care. I do think there's innovation though. I think I can't think of a game that did like a third person kind of perspective camera Metroidvania this well before. Maybe Hyper Light Drifter.
What do you mean by third person? You're like talking kind of more like
just perspective camera. It's not third person. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But
okay.
Just like a top down perspective camera.
Yeah,
just a nice change up for a Metroidvania. Oh, yeah. Metroid like. Strike that from the record.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Frank, because I have one that I can mention that I've been playing that just came out recently called Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo.
Fuck, this guy's always
where do you find these games?
Like low key fucking
I don't know where I
gems,
found this one.
And I can't wait to hear.
It is, I guess, a Zelda-like, but it's also being described as a Metroidvania. I don't like it. It's an interesting question. Like, what's the difference between Zelda and Metroid? Like, they're very similar in terms of progression. It's just one is typically top-down and the other is typically side-scroller. But
I mean, there are a lot of similar, like the original Legend of Zelda and Metroid are very similar.
Definitely. But this is the story's kind of weird. You're like, I guess you're like a mouse, I think I want to say, but like you're part of this crime family, and then your aunt is like the kingpin, and she gets kind of like attacked by like a rival gang, and then somehow ends up becoming cursed or something and becomes part of your yo-yo. You are a yo-yo master. And so that's your main weapon that you use. And, I haven't gotten too far, like in terms of the combat. One thing that's kind of unique is like you can throw out the yo-yo and there's like these sort of corner pieces where it'll like bounce around the room at different angles and stuff to hit things. You can also like throw it across the room, like it comes off the string kind of thing. I don't know. It's nothing super unique so far, but it's very colorful. I like kind of the vibe of it, and it has gotten some pretty solid reviews. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna put some more time into it.
The art style almost reminds me of like a hybrid between like an SNES and NES game. It's not quite SNES level of polish, but it's a little more than NES. It almost reminds me of like Earthbound, the Earthbound art style, where it's kind of almost like, I don't know, a little blocky, a little chunky, a little basic, but very colorful, very identifiable.
I mean, with the yo-yo, I wonder if Earthbound was an inspiration to some degree. Wasn't that a weapon in Earthbound?
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. Yeah. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played Earthbound.
I mean, I haven't seen this game mentioned anywhere.
No.
And it looks pretty awesome. The gaming websites
Suck.
when it comes to covering indie stuff and finding the stuff that matters for indie. It's just a complete fail. They absolutely suck at it. Thank God for fucking Sean. He finds all this stuff. I don't know how he does it, but if it wasn't for him, I don't know what I'd do.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's Steam demos. It's sometimes Metacritic just checking out what's on the top 100 of the year list.
But now half of these games where it's like it goes to 10 independent reviewers who get codes and it gets an 84. It's completely meaningless. Like it needs a wide breadth of coverage for those numbers to even matter on Metacritic anymore. And then the big review houses, which, I don't agree with them a lot of the time, but they have played a lot of games, and there's somewhat of a reputation on the line where they're not just going to let them give everything a 10 or whatever. So this game, it's on every platform, it looks like. So looks pretty rad. Looks very cool. Nice, Sean. Beautiful.
Yeah, I was just looking. It's got 311 reviews on Steam, 98% positive. And then I was kind of like, I wonder what a game like you're kind of talking about how people don't look at this. I'm like, I wonder what a game like Kaze has in terms of reviews. So I just went over to Metacritic, and like it's embarrassingly low, the amount of reviews for Kaze. Like Switch is the highest, 21 reviews, followed by PS4, 17 reviews. Like only 17 outlets on PS4 looked at that game. It's like such a shame.
It really is. That game is so good. Speaking of other great games that aren't getting covered, or I'm not seeing a ton of coverage for, Blade Chimera, a Metroid-like on Switch and Steam, which we talked about a bit last week, but almost 100% of the game. There's like some encyclopedia stuff I didn't fill out, but I did get like the true ending, found every item, and beat the very hard final boss. And I loved this game. It's so much fun. I feel like it kind of captures an aspect of Metroid that so many Metroid likes fail to do, which is the shooting element of Metroid and aiming a gun and making that fun. Even playing old Metroid and Super Metroid can be cumbersome when you have to like lock in on diagonals, and this has a lock-in mechanic built into it, which occasionally can be frustrating and unpolished, but for the most part works. And I just thought the bosses were great. The story was surprisingly good. And like I talked about the teleporting anywhere on a map, by the end of the game, I was just flowing, exploring, and surprised it's not getting talked about more. I definitely need to go back and play the other Ladybug game, the Lodos War. It's got a long title.
Record of Lodos War.
It's even longer, I think. Yeah,
That's the
Record of
anime that it's
Lodos
based
War.
on.
Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth or something.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing maybe some of the things I liked about this are part of that game as well. But if you like Metroid likes, do not sleep on Blade Chimera. It is excellent. And this is a game that kind of embraces a bit of the Vania of Metroidvania, where it's a combination, or you can choose whether to use melee or shooting weapons. So it feels more like a Metroidvania than anything, because it's got the melee combat of Symphony of the Night. Like, it feels so close to that when you're using your sword, and then it feels so close to Metroid when you're using your guns, and it's a great hybrid. Dude, this game rocks.
Nice. Yeah.
I can't believe Sean didn't play it after I told him, like, you got to play this.
I'm waiting for the Steam sale.
Fucking played this stupid yo-yo fucking game.
Steam sale coming soon.
Too busy finding obscure other indie games, but
that's a cool one.
Looks good.
Last thing I played, another library borrow. I got Unicorn Overlord out of the library, which is a Vanillaware game. So very iconic art style. They made like Odin Sphere, and I'm blanking on the other like very popular game.
Dragon's Crown.
Dragon's Crown. And there's one more, which Miramasa, I think, is one of them.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of other RPGs too, I think.
Maybe, yeah. So this one is, if anyone played Ogre Battle on the SNES, it is very similar to that. It's a game where you construct multiple teams of enemy or of characters. Those characters have different types, different classes. So you start off like archer, soldier, can't remember what they call it, but like a tank, horse guy, thief, all types of things. I don't know. I read somewhere that there's like 40 or 50 different types of classes you can have. Similar to Ogre Battle, the original Ogre Battle. And the battles themselves are basically identical to Ogre Battle. You deploy your units, you send them off to fight specific battles. Battles are pretty much automatic. You don't really do anything during them. You can speed up the battles or skip them entirely, which is kind of nice time-saving thing. But then what they did add, which is different from Ogre Battle, is between battles, you can explore the overworld map freely, which has hidden items, recurring like resources you can gather. You can talk to people that are in the world. You can go and visit towns and buy things or do quests, which is usually the quests I've found have been like gathering these resources and then come back. And then there's also like side quests you can do if you explore the map in certain directions. You don't have to just go towards the main quest. And then in terms of the actual like strategy of building your teams, they added, I can't remember what they call it. They call it like renown or something like that. There's some sort of currency, basically like your popularity, which was also a thing in the original Ogre Battle, but you couldn't really spend it on anything. It just determined the final ending of the game, how high your popularity was. And you could actually use these renown points to upgrade your team. So you start off where each team you have can only have 2 units, and then you can spend your renown to upgrade from like 2 to 3 and then 3 to 4, etc. And then you could also unlock additional units. So you start with only being able to use 3, I think. And then you can spend it to get, 4 all the way up to probably 10 or something like that. So there is more currency involved in the game and the gameplay rather than just, buying weapons or equipment for your characters or reviving them. So I was really impressed. I didn't have any expectations going into this game. I didn't even really know what the game was about. To be honest, when I got it in the library, I liked the art style. I saw like that it looked like it had really kind of cool looking battles. So I got it at the library, and I've been kind of blown away by how good it is. And the story is sort of like a little bit of like Game of Thrones-esque right now, where, there's like the main character has kind of been kicked out of their kingdom by the usurper. and you're fighting your way back sort of idea. So I don't know how much more down the Game of Thrones route it goes, but overall that's sort of like the vibe of the story so far. But it's pretty neat, and there's like a lot of side quests with story that I'm finding pretty compelling. And there was one quest early on where I did a side quest, and there was like a guy who was kind of like some thief who had taken over a town. And then at the end, there was a decision you had to make. Do you let him go or do you put him in jail? And I ended up putting him in jail, but then a cutscene happens shortly after where his goons come and break him out of the jail. So I'm wondering, like, okay, was this actually some sort of recurring character that's going to come back? If I'd set him free, what had happened? So I'm kind of interested to go and find a playthrough on YouTube and see what would happen the other way. So it does seem like there are some interesting story decisions that might be happening. I don't know. It always a little nebulous. Like it could be just like, the typical, do you say yes or no? And no matter what you do, the same thing happens kind of thing. It's hard to tell, but it's definitely giving me the illusion that I made some sort of choice and something happened that was different. So that's really all you could hope for, really. So,
which is what most games do.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, full credit to Valerian and Baldur's Gate 3. Not that I've played it that much for actually
making branching,
drastically changing outcomes and output for a huge game.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the last thing I played. Really enjoying it. Surprisingly a lot. So if you like any sort of strategy games, even like Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre Battle, or even just Vanillaware games, I would highly, highly recommend checking out this game. I feel like a lot of people slept on this game last year, and I didn't hear much chatter about it, but I'm very impressed with it so far.
I definitely heard a lot of people that love it, but it definitely feels like a niche audience game from when I played the demo. Like
I would think so.
There's not a lot of active gameplay. It's more just strategy, high level, simulating battles, which I think just by its nature in gaming has a niche audience. So, but I hear people who like that love it. So
yeah.
So where does the unicorn come into play? Because
no idea.
I don't see any unicorn on the artwork. So
yeah, I don't remember if they mentioned if that's like the name of the king or the ruling family or anything like that. I don't recall. So I'll have to report back if I ever get that far.
Okay.
Great title though.
Yeah. Definitely memorable.
Unicorn Overlord is not on Steam? That's kind of crazy.
It's like only consoles.
That's shocking. Sean, anything else for you?
Yeah, so you mentioned iDarb earlier. I just want to circle back around to a game that I talked about a few months ago, I think, because I had played the demo, Dunk Dunk.
Yeah, this was the basketball one. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I actually managed to get a code for the full game, and I've been playing it and still enjoying it as a game we play as a family, and it's super fun. Like it feels like they said we like our iDarb, and there's nothing close to iDarb. We might as well make something. Yeah, it
looks a lot like iDarb.
That is still a very good comparison. I would say it's maybe has a little more precision to it than iDarb. Like you actually, in order to it's more basketball based, and you have to get it into a circle at the other side, but if you just it almost has to be perfectly in line, or you have to literally take it and dunk it right into the circle. But there's a lot of the right thumbstick kind of spins your hand around when you have the ball, so you can kind of use that to protect it. And the levels are pretty cool. Like there's a bunch where you kind of fall off the bottom of the map and come back off at the top, which helps because in order to steal the ball from people, generally you have to kind of come at them from above. So, and there's some that shoot water up and blast you up in the air and stuff. But yeah, fun game. Recommend it if you are into, a party sports game of some sort.
Looks like it's only on Windows or Steam and Switch currently.
That doesn't surprise me, but sounds right.
Okay. Nice. Looks pretty cool. I'll just add really getting sucked back into Breath of the Wild. I kind of want to keep playing it. I'm like, this is such a waste of time. There's so many games I haven't played, and which obviously is a testament to the game, and definitely some embarrassment on my part for not embracing it. We're not going to go do the whole thing again, but I'm really enjoying it in 60 FPS enhanced edition. Plays great, and using the Zelda Notes app to collect everything is a nice little bonus.
Yeah,
so it's very enjoyable. Do I keep playing this? I keep telling myself, isn't the point of games to have fun? If you're having fun playing this, just play it. That's why we do this.
Yeah. And then I have the same conversation with myself, but then I'm like, but you got to talk about new stuff for Game Junk.
I asked that guy, he wasn't doing the podcast. Would I just keep playing Breath of the Wild? I think I would. But that's the sacrifices we make.
Exactly.
We sacrifice our personal happiness, our life, our dreams, our goals for this podcast and bringing you the raw, unfiltered truth, unpaid for when it comes to video games. So you're welcome. Let's get some thank yous in the comments. YouTube.com/Game Junk. Thank you for the sacrifices you make to play these games. Anyway, anyone else have anything they played?
Not right now.
All right, that's going to do it. Is anyone, let's go there. We're getting into next week.
I know what you're going to ask.
Well, I mean, I know your answer. I know what I'm going to ask, and I know your answer. Is anyone buying Death Stranding 2 on the beach? I know Sean is. So, Sean.
How do you know my answer? Well, I don't even know my answer.
I just know. It goes back to the conversation we just had of having to weigh in on it.
I mean, I probably will, but the problem is it really is a game that I feel like you got to play the first game before you could start the second. Like there's story stuff and I don't want to just watch a recap because then I'll never play the first game.
I know that. I feel the exact same way. And then I see a lot of reviews saying this game takes the idea of the first and removes all the friction, all the annoyances, makes combat more engaging and fun, which sound like three major admissions of guilt and points of failure of the first game that no one acknowledged the first time it got released, which makes me want to say, fuck your game and your sequel and the press and people who are still polluted with the allure and the hype of Kojima, because it's out of control, which makes me want to take a stand and say, I will not play this game. But if Sean plays it and says, you know what, Frank, I was thinking, who would I trust? I don't trust any game journalist. I don't trust fans of the first one. Sean and I see pretty much eye to eye on most things. I have to be the passionate bad guy, but if you don't watch on youtube.com/Game Junk, Sean's like, yeah, that's kind of true. And even sometimes he'll say, I love the game, but you're right. I don't know why he's so hesitant to say I'm right. But if Sean plays this game and says, you know what? They fixed everything. It's actually good. I will buy it and play it. And so it all comes down to Sean.
Still a 90 on Metacritic right now.
Still 90.
Lots of things have been 90 on Metacritic this year. A 90 on Metacritic is the new 80 on Metacritic. It means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing.
I don't know about that.
Video game reviewers have lost their mind. The space has been destroyed by millions of websites.
There's only 6 games 90 or above currently, and 2 of them are Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about all these past years. An 87, that's maybe that an 87 is now an old 80. But I trust Sean. I'll say it for the most part. He sometimes goes a little astray, but and I trust Huck, but he's always late to the party.
Oh yeah. Big
So
time.
like I can't wait. Well, unless Huck, do you have it on hold from the library? I would trust you.
Of course I do, but I'm also probably like 40th in line.
Okay. All right.
What's the secret to getting first in line on those?
I'll
just
tell
gotta
you.
know.
Checking every day.
You have to. So at my library, I'll tell you guys the secret. If you search for the term electronic resource, it shows you the games before they officially get slotted into their platform and while they're still on order. So you go on, like Frank says, every day, like a psychopath, and you search electronic resources, and it'll show you all the things that are kind of like uncategorized yet, because they haven't been put into the like official bucket of things that are at the library. They're on order, electronic order anyways. And that's where you find all the games that are coming out in the future before they get put into the normal, hey, this is available at the library list. That's how you do it. So I do it, but I've been slacking on my library electronic resource search. So normally I'm pretty good. Normally I can get like 3 or 4. There's a few more psychos in Mississauga than me. Not many. But recently I've been slacking.
Well, Death Stranding, there's got to be quite a few psychos checking for that.
And I do have to say, I rescind my last comment. I do not trust Huck. He gave Control Game of the Year. So I'll trust his
I probably would have given, well, I don't know if it would have
Sean gave a Game of the Year,
but I
didn't he?
really liked it. So,
no.
Just
Alex,
trust nobody. Like Mulder
is the other person I trust. We agree on everything. And I also trust Graham.
Yeah, I was going to say, we need to get Graham back.
If Graham goes out of his way to recommend a game, I know he's not fucking around. So anyway, thank you for listening or watching on youtube.com/Game Junk. Please flood the YouTube with thank yous. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thanks for everything you do for us. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.